Hello, this is Ma'am Laren, your teacher in probability and statistics. Our topic for today is about random variables and probability distribution. What is a random variable? Random variable is a result of chance event that you can count or measure. So this variable is quantitative. When we say quantitative, it involves with numbers. So kay mag-involve man siya number, so it can be counted or it can be measured. And there are two types of random variable. One is discrete random variable and the other one is continuous random variable. Discrete random variable is a variable whose value is obtained by counting, while continuous random variable is a variable whose value is obtained by measuring. So klaro kayo na, no? Discrete, counting, continuous, measuring. So let us have an example of a discrete and continuous variables. So ganitong discrete, variables that can be counted, while continuous are variables that can be measured. So first example, the number of voters favoring a candidate. Kadaghanon daw sa mga botante nga mobotar sa isa ka kandidato. So, mahihap or masukod? So, maihap. Therefore, discrete. Next, the number of accidents per year in an intersection. So, kadaghanon daw sa aksidente kada tuig. Discrete or continuous? Okay, discrete. Kay maihap siya. Next is the amount of paint utilized in a building project. Ang kadaghanon daw sa pintal nga magamit sa isa ka building project. Sa man maihap or masukod? So this is continuous kay masukod ang pintal. Dili pwede ihapon ang pintal. Next is the number of siblings in a family. Ang kadaghanon daw sa managsuon sa isa ka pamilya. So this is discrete kay maihap. Next is the amount of sugar in a cup of coffee. Kadaghanon daw sa asukal nga imong ibutang sa kape. Maihap or masukod? So, this is continuous kay sukdon nato ang asukal. Next is the average distance that a runner can reach in an hour. So, ang kalayon daw nga abton sa isa ka runner sa iyang pagdagan sulod sa isa ka oras. Asa man discrete or continuous? Maihap or masukod? Masukod. So, this is continuous. Next is the weight of the student's athlete. So, ang kabugaton daw or ang timbang sa isa ka athlete nga estudyante. Is this discrete or continuous? Maipon ba nato ang weight or atong sukdon? So, masukod. So, this is continuous. Next is the number of baskets of mango harvested. Ang kadaghanon daw sa basket. Discrete or continuous? So, kadaghanon, so ihapon nato ang basket. So, this is discrete. Next is the number of red marbles in a jar. So, ang kadaghanon sa pula nga julin nga naa sa jar. Ihapon or sukdon? So, ihapon. Therefore, this is discrete. Next is the length of fence around each housing unit. So, ang katason daw sa kural nga ilibot sa balay. So, maihap or masukod? So, ay katason man, masukod. So, this is continuous. So, these are the examples of discrete and continuous variables. Again, when we say discrete, it can be counted. When we say continuous, it can be measured. Next is we will find the values of the random variable. So, for example, suppose 3 coins are tossed. Let x be the random variable representing the number of tails that occur. The problem now is find the values of the random variable x. So, naa daw tayo tulo ka coins nga atong iitsa. So, ato da yung i-record kung unsay mo gawas kada itsa nato sa tulo ka coins. So, ang atong buhaton is maghimo ta og table. So, ang table na ay duha ka columns. The first column is for the possible outcomes and the second column is for the value of the random variable x or the number of tails nga mo-occur kada toss nimo sa coins. So, mauni ang mga posible nga mogawas kada toss nimo sa tulo ka coins. So, natay 8 ka posible nga outcomes. So, maybe, permiro, puro heads ang mogawas. Then, mo-follow dayon nga naiduha ka heads ug isa ka tail. Then, head, tail, head. Hantod, maabot ka sa last nimo nga toast, nga posible nga toast, nga head, tail, tail. So, ang atong buhaton sunod is i-identify nato ang number of tails sa kada possible outcome. So, first, possible outcome is puro heads. Therefore, ang atong number of tails is 0. Next, head, head, tail. So, naatay isa ka tail, 1. Next na pod, 1. Then next is 1. Then, follow na to, sunod is tulo. Okay, tulo ka tails. Then, we have 2, 2, 2. So, therefore, ang atong possible values of random variable x are na ay 0, na ay 1, na ay 2, and 3. Mao ni ang atong mga possible values of the random variable x. Next, what is the probability distribution of x? So, we will use the previous table on the possible values of the random variable x. So, from here, we will be able to find the probability distribution of x. So, ang atong buhaton is maghimo na po taglain nga table. So, diha makita ninyo ang number of tails na gi-represent ni x and the p of x. The p of x now is the probability distribution of x. So, let's start with the number of tails. So, if you will see, you have here 0, 1, 2, and 3. Then, we will find the p of x out from the number of tails. So, let's start with 0. So, inyo makita na ay isa ka 0 diha. And then, atong ihapon ang possible outcomes. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, na 8 ka possible outcomes. So, isa ka 0 out of 8 possible outcomes. So, that is 1 over 8. Then, 1. So, pila ka 1? 1, 2, 3. So, na ay tulo ka 1 out of 8 possible outcomes. So, that is 3 over 8. Then, 2. So, pila na pud ka 2? So, tulog gihapon. So, there are 3 out of 8 possible outcomes. So, that is 3 over 8. And then, ang 3. So, isa lang ang 3. So, that is 1 out of 8 possible outcomes or 1 over 8. So, that is how to find the probability distribution of x. Followed next is computing the mean, variance, and standard deviation of a discrete probability distribution. So, there are steps to follow para ma-compute na to ang mean, variance, and DSD. First, find the mean of the probability distribution. Second, subtract the mean from each value of the random variable. Third, square the results obtained in step 2. Fourth, multiply the results obtained in step 3 by the corresponding probability. And last, get the sum of the results obtained in step 4. So here is the step-by-step process in finding the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation or the SD. So this is coming from the table of finding the probability distribution of x. Kinirgya po na itong gamiton. So nagsumpay-sumpay na niya ang atong mga steps sugod pa kaganina. So we will make another table. Then, transfer nato ang number of tails dinhi sa first column. Then, the P of X sa second column. Then, we will now find the value of the third column. So, that is X times P of X. So, 0 times 1 over 8. So, any number multiplied by 0, of course, the answer is 0. Then, 1 times 3 over 8. So, 1 is an identity element of multiplication. So, 1 times the number is equal to the number. So, the answer is 3 over 8. Then, next is 2 times 3 over 8. So, para di mo maglibog, kani si 2 himuon na itong fraction. So, that is now 2 over 1. And 2 divided by 1 is still, the answer is 2. So, wala na usabang value. So, 2 over 1 times 3 over 8. And according to the law of multiplying fractions, so that is numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So, 2 times 3 over 1 times 8. So, the answer is 6 over 8. Then, next, we have 3 times 1, 8. So, parehas pagkasolve sa taas. So, himo na itong fractions with 3, that is 3 over 1 times 1, 8. So, 3 times 1 over 1 times 8. So, the answer is 3 over 8. The next is, we will find the sum of the third column. Pakitaon na to ang sum. So, there's no problem in finding the sum because all the fractions are similar fractions. So, all you have to do is to simply add the numerators, then copy the common denominator. So, 3 plus 6 plus 3 over the common denominator 8. So, ang labas, that is the mean. So, 3 plus 6 plus 3 is equal to 12. The common denominator 8. So, 12 over 8. So, 12 divided by 8 is equal to 1.5. So, the mean is 1.5. So, nakita na nato ang mean. So, kani karon si mean, pwede nato magamit sa next nato nga column. So, you have there x minus that symbol. So, ang symbol nato is mean. Kanang symbol, but pasabot mean. So, buhaton, that is x or 0 minus 1.5. So, ang 0 minus sa 1.5, the answer is negative 1.5. Then, 1 minus 1.5 is negative 0.5. Then, 2 minus 1.5 is 0.5. Then, 3 minus 1.5, the answer is, of course, 1.5. The next column is the square of the previous column. So, kay square man sa previous column, all we have to do is to simply multiply the previous column by itself. So, negative 1.5 times negative 1.5, so the answer is positive. So, positive 2.25. Because negative times negative is positive. Next, negative 0.5 times negative 0.5 is positive 0.25. Then 0.5 times 0.5 is 0.25. And 1.5 times 1.5 is 2.25. Then, last column. We have the previous column times P of X. So, ato lang na siya yung multiply. You have there 1 over 8 times 2.25. Or, tuplukan ninyo yung calculator. 1 divided by 8 times 2.25 is 0.281. Then, 3 over 8 times 0.25 is 0.094. And then 3 divided by 8 times 0.25 is 0.094. And last, 1 divided by 8 times 2.25, that is equal to 0.281. Last, find the sum. So, i-add na to na siyang upat. Then, the result is the variance. So, get your calculator. Yeah, there, the variance is 0.75. Then, duha na itong nakita na si mean, na si variance. Ang kulang na lang is the SD. So, the standard deviation or the SD of the probability distribution is, ang pagkuha is square root of 0.75. That is now equal to 0.866. So those are the steps in finding the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation of the probability distribution.